It's like this, ladies and gentlemen. My father even suggested today that he didn't get any food. He is hydrated, is sleep deprived, did not sleep, did not get any sleep. Insisted they do not like him, which I know that they don't like him. We all know they don't like him. He's a key witness. They absolutely have a lot of reasons for not liking him. And it was Robert Golob who demanded from MK Ultra Brainwash as a matrimonial gift to him for my father to be killed. This is the 5th day that my father is sick, is not doing very well. 5th day. Lack of sleep, dehydrated. I could hear his stomach growling. And the rest is the explanation about my visit today. Today is the September the 7th, 2025. Making me extremely miserable about this whole thing. Yeah, this is a video I'm gonna play to you today. I was the father, that's right. Father did not feel good. Father did not sleep. Father thirsty. They don't like my father. Today is September the 7th, 2025 it is. I did explain you the issue behind my visit to the father on September the 4th, on September the 5th, and on September the 6th. On September the 4th, you can see it here. Yeah. You can see visit to father, it says here September the 3rd. I point you out, folks, this stuff. My father does not feel good, sick. This kind of stuff here. I'm going to put the links right down below. Deeply involved, social worker and so on, that stuff. Father looked drowsy, sleepy. Oftentimes is thirsty, doesn't get sleep. Obviously is not getting enough liquid. What you see here, September the 3rd, what you see here, September the 4th and the September the 5th, I addressed this under name Ursula von der Leyen, personal involvement, home for elderly people. You see me commenting in this video here for the September the 5th, and right down you can see the video of September the 4th. That's September the 3rd, September the 4th, September the 5th. Mother tell me, don't even go to the father because he doesn't feel good. Yesterday, the only thing mother told me, the father is doing good. That's not true, because today the father almost cried over there. Today is the September the 7th. So we have 5 days of father being ripped apart, basically. 5 days. I warned about this on the internet. I spoke about this stuff. I couldn't give bigger alert than this. And somebody is just getting done whatever they want to do. And that's what this video is about. Today is the September the 7th. Father, again, I could hear his stomach growling inside. Father cried, he doesn't get enough sleep, is dehydrated and so on, that kind of stuff. Why? It's all related to this politician whose name is Robert Golob. He had a big marriage, a big matrimony, which he personally rehearsed with me. Beginning the 2014, he started to rehearse this with me. This is a villa where Milan Kuchan, Golob, and others oftentimes celebrated. It's along the Adriatic coast. And on one opportunity, they also imitated schizophrenia. When they threw me into psychiatric hospital in 2015, Robert Golob summoned a group of journalists whom he treated, gave drink. I honestly do not recall what exactly he was talking about in 2015, but inside of our house, he presented me with a speech which he gave out today to this so-called journalists. You will hear me addressing these Slovenian journalists as imbeciles because they play psychiatrists. This is no journalism. This is about something else. We have seen this inside of the Soviet Union and inside of the Yugoslavia, this kind of journalism. We have seen that stuff before. And we continue to see this in Slovenia, this kind of stuff. He had a separate sessions. On one session where he gathered the journalists and gave them whatever kind of speech he gave them, and then he organized a second post-conference, and I don't know who those people were, journalists or whatever they were, they appear to be journalists, in front of whom he also addressed me with the speech he also gave today. Is the speech Robert Golob presented in front of the British royals during MK Ultra. The best about his matrimony was his matrimonial wish. His matrimonial wish required in front of me, indirectly in my face, for a gift to him for the matrimony. As you know, it's a habit to give gifts to people who have the matrimonies. For my father to be killed was a request from Robert Golob. And that's exactly what I discuss in this video. With also what you will see at the end is going to be witnessing of my father personally as I pay him visit today on September the 7th, 2025. I requested my father to be killed during MK Ultra, literally. This is a guy by the name Robert Golob. Doctor is a Dr. Robert Golob, the Slovenian Prime Minister, Dr. Robert Golob. Dr. Robert Golob had a happy marriage. Not really a fable, but like from Tali, married a beautiful Slovenian girl, Mrs. Gaber. Not that I would be crazy about her, not even a little bit, but I am just trying to be as fantastic as possibly I can be. Fantastic is the proper word. So I probably don't have to give a special presentation to this imbecile. I am going to go like this past 24 hours, and then you get to read here about a big marriage of Robert Golob. Slovenian imbeciles. I am referring to Slovenian journalists, the so-called journalists. I did not write about. I don't know how much did you pay attention to my blog where I stressed the issue, and I eventually stopped stressing the issues of the news that was involved in it, the journalists, the way they misinterpreted a future political agenda, Western agenda. But I did not even mention anything about the Slovenian imbeciles. And I did not mention it because it didn't make no fucking sense. You see, the thing in my case is that Slovenia enforced extermination procedure against me since I was few months of age. So what sense does it make for me to talk about animals that were coming in a house, barricaded house, to misinterpret me news which they coordinated with the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Poli? Probably none. To me, it was of a bigger surprise because I'm not the only person in Eastern Europe, and you can see what's taking place not only in Ukraine right now, if that's not bad enough, but you can see what's taking place finally in Serbia. You can see with your own eyes about what's going on in Serbia. So there's a lot of people, I'm not going to say Serbs like me, because no. Serbs have a specific problem. It's just like I have spoken to two guys today over there at Home for Elderly. When it was Yugoslavia, Yugoslavia was a Serbia. Every Serb considered Yugoslavia Serbia. So if they spoke to you and you were a Croat and you were a Slovenian, or you were a Bosnian, or you were a Macedonian, or you were a Montenegrin, or whatever you were, Montenegrin maybe not. They saw right through you. You are like an air. You actually did not exist. You were just a number in front of their face, which they had to get past to. And so in this system, they set the order of priorities. That's basically exterminate those that opposed the system. And being a youngest, really political dissident in Yugoslavia, I was a top priority. But yeah, here's the thing. Slovenian police used me for exactly same, almost identical purposes as to what Serbs were using me in Yugoslavia. Serbs were also using me in Yugoslavia to detect any people that would have tendencies toward national independence. And then they would go and they would kill those people. And or they would throw me right into the fire to whatever minorities they have problems with to make it up. Or I'm not going to even say minorities, globally, to improve the picture about the Serbia. See, I was not Serb, but I was delivered to many locations around the world where they literally instructed people to torture, so that they could present themselves in a bright light and present me as evil, and so they could present themselves in a bright light. And their Yugoslavia, I should say Serbia, is a place where Serbs should conquer, opposed to others. Others were bad, Serbs were good in Yugoslavia. And finally, when they had nobody, the Slovenian police was doing the same thing. Slovenian police was using me with Roma community, with Bosnian community, with the Croatian community, with the Serbian community in Slovenia, whom they would instruct to torture, and present themselves as somebody that are well worth of trust to communicate with. If you get to torture the native and you get paid for it, awarded for it, it might not be so bad. It must not be such a bad country, right? And so all the tensions, the national tensions, this is how they used to uh, iron them, peglati, iron them. That's how they make shoes. That's how they make love. This is the way it was. Now I'm no longer even myself. I'm no longer in the picture. They have no access to me since 2020. Since the end of the 2020. Should say since 2021, they had no access to me. Beginning 2021, they had no access to me. Yugoslavia have fallen apart. Slovenes departed. Croats have their own state. Bosnians had their own state. Kosovo has its own state, country. Macedonia has its own country. Montenegro even have its own country. I don't know what country that is, but still, they have their own independence country. And Serbs are all by themselves. And it's exactly as I told the two guys. In 1986, I told Milosevic and I told all these big shots from Serbia. I told them, it's not going to function for you like this always. It's not going to be. They told me, oh, no. It's never going to be like in Yugoslavia, in Italy or in Austria. Yes, I liked Italy and Austria when I was a kid, a child, despite everything that went on. There is no way that you could compare the extermination, how can I say, a genocide obsession with Yugoslavia, with Serbs. There is no country that, regardless of how bad would it be, there never was anything like this. And so, pretty much any country except Yugoslavia, I should say Serbia. So when I consider this issue, and I told them, in 1986, I told them, one day everybody's going to depart. It looked like Yugoslavia no longer will exist in 1986. I told them. And you're going to be all by yourself. All by yourself you're going to be, and you're going to have exactly the problem that you have with me today, you're going to have with your own people. Yeah, it's not only in Ukraine. Today, if you look at the news about the Serbia, they call them, Vucic calls these young students barricaderi. He calls them barricaderi. I'm not a Serb, and I don't see myself in this stuff beyond to what I have to say that pertains to my case. It's identical problem, actually, the stuff that you see. It's very different. They wanted to exterminate me, but when it comes to the young people in Serbia, they have a different kind of problem. They have a problem with authority that is so authoritarian, corrupt, criminal, tsaristic. I don't even know how I would explain this stuff. So fascist is the right way, hateful, based on udri sina, ubi oca system, forced unemployment and that kind of stuff that they got used to do people. Really, the problem of 1986 is today is in Serbia. That problem where you have ability, capacity to torture and kill the person without having anyone to fear in this world is what Serbs alone have to taste on their skin today. Far away from any kind of justice system, anything that you would consider as normal around the world. Europe, especially, is in Serbia, knowledge is as a sort of anti-state activity, anti-government, because the only person that is a government is Vucic. That is a student of Slobodan Milosevic. So they're not ethnically trying to exterminate people over there. But this is the thing I told the two guys. If they would have listened to me in 1986, Yugoslavia maybe would still even exist. And they were looking at me really confused. Yeah, I mean, the culture itself, the Serbian folklore, the Serbian folklore, where you got used to killing people without bearing any kind of consequences, any kind of responsibility for torture, killing of the people in Yugoslavia, it's long gone. And you have absolutely nobody you can go after with this stuff. Nobody. You cannot even get to me. And so it exploded like a barrel of dynamite. The culture thing contradicts itself deeply in a center of this culture, of the Serbian culture they got used to do in Yugoslavia. You know, remember when I told you that in Yugoslavia the Serb did not see Yugoslavia as Yugoslavia, but they saw it as a Serbia, and they saw you as a member of other nationality. They saw you like a heir, like a number that only needs to get passed to basically either maybe even intermarry or whatever the case might have been, exile you or imprison you or throw you into a psychiatric hospital or destroy you through unemployment, whatever the case might be. This is exactly the same shit. The Vucic, Aleksandar Vucic, Milosevic, they only were functional. These are totally dysfunctional people. Imbeciles. It's called imbecile. Imbecile. They can only function based on hatred. If there is no hatred, the engine breaks. The main engine that powers Aleksandar Vucic is a hatred. Hate, 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 hate. Hate is the main engine. And when there is nobody he can go to the audience, when there is nobody he can step on the podium and go and preach and incite in hate, guess what happens? He turns on his own people. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened in Serbia with the students. You know, this is the way the engine works. Where there is nobody to blame for, where there is nobody to go after, that's a culture thing. And the culture, the genocide, the extermination core of that culture is missing. Serbs cannot get to that engine anymore. They cannot get to that culture anymore. It was a big symbiosis. It was a big solidarity with one another. They didn't care, really. There was no opposition. The only party in Yugoslavia was a Serbian Communist Party. Others only joined, and if you didn't join, you were the enemy, including the communists. That's all there is. You can be a follower, but that's all there is. And if you didn't follow, then you were the enemy. That's it. So now if you don't have that core, if you don't have that engine is broken. It's the struggle within the state, within the people itself. Because Aleksandar Vucic functions like this, just like Milosevic, just like all these people. I told them in 1986, I told them, one day you're going to find yourself all by yourself. And the same thing you're doing to me, you're going to be doing to your own people. 1986. That was 5 years before Yugoslavia had fallen, actually exploded like a barrel of dynamite into the Balkan Wars. This is real. This is a real. The truth that I'm saying to you is exactly the way I'm witnessing my own account. You can talk to Serbs about this stuff, older generation, like a Šešelj, like all those others that they condemn, and Karadzic is still alive, supposedly. I say supposedly because I don't believe Milosevic was killed. I don't believe that Mladic was killed. Actually, that they died. Sorry, I don't believe in it. So for me, when you say the Karadzic is still alive, it's the same thing like you say Milosevic is dead. I don't go for this. I told you about exactly what I think about this Hague justice, about the Strasbourg, about all this stuff that went on, who gathered inside of our house, how Šešelj traveled from Hague to Slovenia, and from Slovenia to back to Serbia during his imprisonment and so on, whom he was meeting in our house and so on. So what's happening today? What's happening today is not isolated. It doesn't pertain only to Ukraine. Serbian people have much more to do with Ukrainian people than what they will ever understand. What they will ever understand. It's happening to the Russian people in Russia alone. In Russia, and first it was in Belarus, and I think that's what Vucic is trying to do, the same thing like in Belarus. You know, it was war within. Then the war on Ukraine started, right? You remember how many people they locked up, they imprisoned? They had this fake opposition, and through the fake opposition, they locked up so many people, they destroyed so many people. Then they turned on a foreign enemy. And at least Vladimir Putin today, he still have at least foreign enemy. A poor Alexander Vucic, a poor guy, doesn't have any enemy. He wanted a war with the Kosovo, and it doesn't function because of so many problems that he has inside of the Serbia. He believes he's going to unite Serbia through the war on Kosovo, on Albania. Anyhow, he's using a tear gas, all kinds of stuff. The young students are younger than Vucic is, and so I would say to the Vucic, uzalud vam trud svirači. I don't think you're going to last, buddy. They are younger, they are strong, and they are very united. I just see how popular they became, the so-called known as bloccaderi. You see, they're known. Vucic calls them as bloccaderi. Anyhow, this is a video about this guy here. About this guy, and this is the video dedicated to my father. No. At the beginning, when you saw this video, you're correct. This is about my father, this video. It is. We have just witnessed in Slovenia a big marriage on September the 7th, 2025. Dr. Robert Golob celebrated a big marriage with his model wife now. What is her name? Gaber. Tina Gaber. There you go. And there is a young couple right there. And I will never forget, beginning the 2014, when I found myself, 2015, delivered from the psychiatric hospital to this location here, where I just want to see this stuff here. Okay. Oh, Andrej Plenković also say hello. The Croatian Andrej Plenković. See, that's very nice. Yeah. Well, Croatia is another country. I am not going to get into it. If they like Robert Golob, okay, that's their problem, not mine. But I don't see the stuff I was looking forward to see. And that's basically the video of Robert Golob serving. This took place on it's called Villa Tartini. It's called a mansion Tartini in Strunjan in Slovenia. That's along the coast, not too far from Italy. A mansion known as a Tartini, a big Big deal. This is the article I was looking for and none other. There is Slovenian media covers this stuff, and the two guys. I felt kind of that Robert Golob was with me today over there at home for elderly people because of what I'm about to tell you here. One of the things that I have to say to you, I am not very happy about, is that for the matrimonial wish, Robert Golob wished my father to be killed for the matrimonial wish. In 2014, this is something Robert Golob planned on since 2008. Marriage to Tina Gaber was planned already since 2008, and he continued to update on this news, Robert Golob. In 2014, Robert Golob, however, delivered me with the so-called journalists. You know, the people whom I refer to as imbeciles? Yeah, those people. To this Villa Tartini. Villa Tartini was this location here was a very, very frequent location where Robert Golob with Milan Kucan, Borut Pahor, that kind of company, they would meet over and over and over and over and over again. This was just a location they meet over and over and over again. In fact, I should even know the history about this Villa Tartini, because they were making some upgrades, changing the structure and stuff like this of the Villa Tartini. I don't know, something like, I think like 2000, 2005, between 2000, 2005, they were doing some kind of stuff. I would actually have to see this to have the time for all this shit, man. Who the hell has got all the time for this shit? You know, I'm looking forward to close this case, not to go and brag about this, but this is really about my father. This is a politician, he's a doctor, his mentor was Milan Kucan, and his marital wish, matrimonial wish, he expressed in front of me, in my face, indirectly and directly, was to get my father killed for his matrimony. So this is very, very personal stuff. In 2014 or 2015, I think it was 2015, Robert Golob delivered me to this villa one more time. And what he would do is he would serve the so-called journalists. I told you about the imbeciles. He had a dozen of those imbeciles with him. I don't want to write about them, but it's easy to see the journalists from Slovenske novice. I just go like this here, and it's all over. 24 hours, Slovenske novice, Delo was the biggest one for Robert Golob, for Milan Kucan. But all this garbage, they assisted with Robert Golob. They came to visit Robert Golob. The imbeciles, the Slovenian imbeciles registered as journalists were playing psychiatrists. That's exactly what you do, because if you do this in 2015, and I say this stuff took place already in 2015, you were rehearsing it, it's dozen of you say, oh, you are insane. He is insane, and we are journalists, we're certified, and so on. Right? So you guys were playing as psychiatrists when I was actually locked up inside of the psychiatric hospital. So this is very, very shit. For Slovenian side, I told you I never would want to comment their news, the media, the way they had the media, the same like a Western media, simply because really Slovenia was involved in this extermination procedure since I was a few months of age. I don't think that I should be commenting on imbeciles, what they have to say. I worked really hard for the NATO and for the European Union. I am also a citizen of the United States. I don't think that I should become, that I should be what at least they expressed disconcert and discontent with the Slovenian, with the Serbian and Yugoslav side till one have fallen apart. And afterwards too, I don't think that I should be commenting what they have to say at all. I did not comment you about the Russian media, Russian schizophrenia. It's not a media, it's a shiza. It's total schizoid. It's total schizoia. And the same as with the Serbians. I don't even read that stuff because there is just, well, yeah, maybe if it's something, but nothing comes out of Russia anyways. It's still the same as it used to be, as it always was. Anything useful doesn't come out of Russia, so it makes no sense. So, yeah, in 2015, he had a speech prepared to. Yeah.
In tudi vam medijem, da spoštujete najino zasebnost in da spoštujete, da želiva danes preživeti ta dan v krogu družine in prijateljev. Sem vam pa prinesel kljub temu, ali pa predvsem zato, ker ste bili tako prijatelji do zdaj, eno manjšo pustitev, da boste lahko tudi vi proslavili z nami. Hvala.
He gave them some wine to drink, and this guy was also involved in MK Ultra also. So he really wants to make this news. He's doing something else also next to the marriage and all that stuff. Mislim, da bo počitnice bo Golob izrabil zato, da vam bo spizdil izpred nosa, kar ste itak že uredili z njim. I think that vacation are going to be used for Robert Golob to disappear. They talk about the vacation. I like to get to the bottom. I want to see him sip some stuff in the this with a glass of wine, that's what we want. There you go. There you go. That's the stuff we want. I really would not care about what the guy is doing, but expressing the wish to get my father killed, that's very naughty. That's not very nice. And it just happened so that problems of my father started on September the 7th. Actually, let's be exact about this. We're gonna do September the 3rd, and it was not a good situation. All along it was a really bad situation with the father, right? I don't know where exactly do I have the this was the visit. This is what I published on September the 5th. So here it is. Father fell sick on September the 5th, right? So this shit started on September the 3rd and went through the September the 5th, and today is the September the 7th, and father was sick to death today. My father did not sleep all night long. He was thirsty, dehydrated. I already told you about these issues. And he also stated that he's been mistreated. So that they don't like him, basically, that they don't like him. And as you know, I'm not allowed to go visit the father. You know that I'm not allowed to visit the father. So this is not good. As much as I would want to wish Robert Golob all the best for his matrimony, for his marriage, this thing is about something completely different. I told you about the Robert Golob, how Robert Golob personally was playing during hospitalization of my father at home for elderly people with diarrhea issues. They were doing stuff to him. My father is extremely sensitive. He's extremely sensitive. Even degree of exercise that is done with him can cause him a major problem, because the only thing they do is they medicate him. There is no exercise, and when they do the exercise, I think once per week, they tend to push him. My father had a heart attacks during police hospitalization, during the hijacking, abductions to home for elderly people where he was tortured. My father suffered cardiac arrests. That goes to show, because since it never happened to me, clearly he was choking with a liquid they were sipping him. He was falling them down on the floor. This is the stuff they were doing with my father while using him for torture purposes. This is where they would deliver me. This, I am asking the European Committee for Anti-Torture, Human Degradation to stop this stuff. You are awarding political violence to unprecedented level. Slovenia is a member of the European Union. I don't like your politicians, because your politicians, they really are scum. I don't know what to tell you. You had enough time, and I gave you the warnings about that stuff, to find yourself a decent politicians, or at least other faces. It doesn't matter. People that could do and should, and you will do the job. 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 You tutored your European citizens to be obeying like dogs, to act like animals on the slightest you do. With the slightest little snap of your lips, they are compliant with the way you enforce your laws, the so-called laws. Unfortunately for you, you did not manage to prove anything against me so far, regardless of degree of violence. You did not, but I have proven everything stated on my blog. So I really don't know where you're going with this stuff, but you are killing my father. You are literally killing my father. This man is using European Union Court for Human Rights, as well as European Union Anti-Torture CPT Committee, for torture of my father, not only of me, and assassination attempts. And this shit has been going for 54 years now. 54 years, that's over 1 century, half of the century. Where exactly are you going with it? My father became a toy in hands of these maniacs in Slovenia. And he's about to get killed. And you are going to be responsible for this. You do understand English language, don't you? You did get complaints. I did contact you at CPT. Directly, I contacted you. I complained about your employees' personal involvement in my case. I did contact you at European Court for Human Rights, and I contacted you at European Commission. And also at United Nations, at US Justice Department of State, FBI, etc., etc. You're making fun of this stuff. You're making literally stuff that is beyond sickening, a dream come true for the people whom you claimed were the main obstacle to the global democracy. People with whom you have now more common than you have with me, whom you have used for war on these people. I guess that once you pass certain level, that you turn around the table and you start to sell the favors back to the party you were in war with in the past. I guess that that's how it works in NATO, inside of the European Union, in America. He had a wish, his matrimonial wish was to get my father killed. I don't have anything else I would say in this video. I am going to play you a video. I'm not going to go translate the video. My father explains exactly what I stated. You continue to enforce psychiatry using your previous adversaries, enemies, to cover up your own dilemmas, right? This guy invited a dozen of imbeciles whom he treated with the drinks, with stuff, with the food, based on MK Ultra scenario, a rehearsal, basically. What he's saying is basically, I'm insane. That's what he's saying. You could say, no, he wouldn't say if he wouldn't mention this. Well, you see, the thing is that if I wouldn't mention this stuff, I would be guilty for the murder of my father. For exactly what my father told me today is happening to him. You guys are making no fucking sense with this stuff. You're playing the game. You enforce the game. You enforce the game for which you know you have absolutely no proofs did not exist. Game which too many witnesses witnessed. Game for which you claimed you were on my side and I don't know what. Till it became evident that you have actually no intention whatsoever to work with me in absolutely any way other than keeping me as long and as much silent about your involvement as it is possible. This is disgusting. This shit with Robert Golob that pertains to my father, like this is going to go on your shoulders. Is going to go talking to you in the European Union. Anything that is happening to my father that will happen, actually that is happening, stuff that he had to go through is because of you, Ursula von der Leyen. It's because of you at CPT, at this location here. It's called the Committee for the Prevention of Torture and Inhumane Degrading Treatment or Punishment, CPT, this thing here. You guys are the highest body when it comes to torture and inhumane treatment, degrading treatment or punishment. My father was never sentenced anything, nor was I. Psychiatry is in a full power and do whatever they want to do, and did with me for no less than 54 years. And that involves killing of the family members, torture and killing of the family members in the most bestial and, for the politicians, prestigious way possible. Ursula von der Leyen is a good friend of Robert Golob. We have seen that. And the same thing was with Macron, who expressed enormous support for Robert Golob. Olaf Scholz was deeply in bed with a neighbor, Method Jerman. He was deeply in bed with Miran Sodin, with the Slovenian politicians. And things are not working out well for me. I am circling and circling and circling in a same circle through which I am suffering. It's a public lynching, really. What went on during MK Ultra, through police, psychiatrists, on a public, on open, in a same circle of people, I'm being subjected to the same type of mistreatment, surrounded with exactly the same kind of people. This is not good. Today I could hear my father inside of the stomach, how everything intestines were wrapping him around. The guy did not sleep. The guy is 3/4 dead because he didn't get rest. He doesn't get sleep. And I have no capacity to be with him. I have no way to take him out, to give him something so he could have something, so that he could... I have no right to enter inside of the home for elderly people, literally. And can only be present with the father whenever mother is there, outside of the home for elderly people. Nurse Janko was laughing at me with the police. Psychiatrist Kopsch. After the summer, after the fall, it's a winter time. Mother is not going to be bringing the father out on a cold air. I will be allowed, however, to do exercise with my father downstairs in the lobby area. Are you people fucking normal at all? What the fuck is normal about you? However, they told me, Nurse Janko will explain this without the cameras. Everything that I told you about the stuff, everything is the way it was. The worst part is they do not let my father home. They don't let him out. They are killing him in front of my eyes for the honor of the Ursula von der Leyen and European Commission, Anti-Torture Commission for against degradation and inhumane treatment, etc., and punishment and whatever. In your honor, they are doing this stuff. And so instead of me sitting with the father in a car and drive to a warm place during the winter time where we could have something out of our life, I'm going to have to spend more time with the father watching him, how he's going to fall apart in front of me and die, or rotten basically in front of me, while breaking my spine. What the fuck are you people doing? What's going on with you? I'm not going to talk about imbeciles. I told you I don't want to spoke about what Slovenian journalists think and what Slovenian journalists and what Slovenians say. I have nothing to do with them. I have to do with them as much as I had to do with the Serbs or with the Russians. And that's pretty much nothing, really. How long the hell is it going to take for you to indict Ursula von der Leyen? Is it a war in Ukraine that gives Ursula von der Leyen the right? And to the CPT, Committee for Anti-Torture and Inhumane Treatment, etc., etc. What kind of democracy is this? What kind of democracy do we have then in European Union? Is the Ukrainians that are fighting this war? What kind of a war are they fighting for? Are they fighting this for themselves, for the Ukraine? If it's going to be like in my case, what kind of society are we building then in that? For the politicians that can do whatever they want to do as long as they create a crisis big enough for individuals not to be seen, even if they were involved in extermination procedure against one, like in my case for 54 years. What kind of system people do we build? What kind of system people do we continue to build in that case? My father was dying right now 4 days on the row because of Robert Golob's marriage. I don't have anything else to say in respect to this. Here is the video, and guess what? I'm going to put the original video right down below so that you can also see separately. Yeah, exactly the stuff that I told you. I did not sleep, my father said. I don't feel good. And they don't like me. No, they don't like him because my father is a key witness to what took place. He is a key witness. He witnessed Milosevic bringing me from Montenegro since I was a child, since I was 8, 9 years of age, all the way to the 8th grade of the grammar school. And even afterwards. This is a key witness who had to go to sleep. You understand? He had to go to sleep in our old house in the city of the Novo Mesto that we had, with the mother and me in another room, so the Josip Broz Tito could sleep with Jovanka inside of the big room where my grandfather used to be. This is the man who witnessed British royals, all of them, meeting Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth, Edward, Charles, Anne, every one of them in person. And you're making a fun out of torture in front of my eyes with my father, through my father. For the Slovenes to literally laugh in my face with, as Robert Golob suggested, for the matrimonial gift, for my happiness, for my honor, I want his father dead, killed. So, what my father stated, that he doesn't feel good. I have a background that pertains to MK Ultra. I witnessed that Robert Golob demanded my father to be killed for his matrimonial gift. So just a reminder, as we started the video, the closing statement, exactly the way we started the video. We started it, what I explained to you was Wednesday, September the 3rd. Father doesn't sleep, feels sick. Yes, September the 3rd. We continue with this stuff. We go to September the 4th. September the 4th video, you have it right here. And again, mother tells me on September the 5th, don't come. So that's 1, 2, 3 days. Yesterday, mother stated the father was good. I don't believe it because of what I have seen today. Disaster. Today is September the 7th. So that's 5 days of having my father sick to death with his stomach. Dehydrated, without sleeping, doesn't get enough water, doesn't get enough liquid. What the fuck is going on? Robert Golob is tears of joy, which he expressed due to matrimony to his beautiful wife, Tina Gaber, were repeatedly involved. His speech was repeatedly involved in, not only speech, but repeatedly involved issue of crime in the so-called MK Ultra procedure in brainwash. The two guys whom I have met today were directly related to Robert Golob, and they did reminded me of Robert Golob crying. I swear to you today, when I spoke to those guys, I could feel the presence of Robert Golob right there in front of me, because the two who were involved in MK Ultra spoke in front of me with Robert Golob stating how the two will remind me of him crying during matrimony. And those tears of joy, those tears of happiness, I have to say, were related to the issue of my father, which my father had to go through for the last 5 days. I hope I did express myself properly. During MK Ultra, the two individuals, together with Robert Golob was giving them instructions on what they will. Robert Golob did the whole schizophrenia of his funeral, of his matrimony in my face on about 3 occasions, the whole thing. And I will not go to read about this stuff. If I would go to read, I could dedicate my time to total lunacy, total misinterpretation of news, the way he interpreted it for me to see myself in his matrimony. Total lunacy. And it was his instructions to the 2 guys I met today to remind me of his crying, that he was Robert Golob married, and he cried. I haven't seen him really crying and this and that so much, but it's more about crying, crying, MK Ultra, and the stuff that I mentioned to you about the father. This is sadistic, and it's sickening. No, I don't blame the 2 guys at all. The 2 guys, however, were directly involved with Novo Mesto police and also, or I should say, Robert Golob, psychiatrist, cops, and so on. So my father did not feel good for the last 5 days. I don't appreciate this. I definitely appreciate the 2 guys I met today. I definitely appreciate 2 guys I met today. Let me put it this way, Ursula von der Leyen. I will dedicate these words to you. I tell you what, I don't actually even know if your father is still alive. I have to see that. But if you want to play political games, use your own father. Use your own mother. You destroyed me 54 years of life in a process. You're not going to be playing political games through me. You're not going to be using me for your political games. Robert Golob have a good percentage of the Slovenian people who would love nothing more than for one to be dead. That's a fact. Robert Golob is an extremely hated person in Slovenia. People might not show directly what I stated, but at the end of the day, those of you that want to play political games, it's enough that as a politician, as an Illuminati, that you express wish for my father to be killed during your matrimony. You don't even have to do it, because a lot of people in those Illuminati people hated Robert Golob too. They would give anything to destroy him. You understand me what I'm saying? So when you want to go and you want to play next time political games through parents, choose your own parents. Use your own family members and fuck with them and make saints and insanes with them. Or you go and sacrifice yourself for the better of the world. Don't do this shit to me. I told you I'm going to go after you the same way I'm going to go after him. You destroyed me 54 years of life, and I am directly blaming you for what's happening with the father. My father insisted, did not even get to eat. It wasn't only about being dehydrated. If that's not enough, I don't know what's enough. But dehydration for me is one of the worst things you can do to the human being. Dehydrated, claimed he did not get any food. They don't like him. We all know why they don't like him. I was asking him about a vacation with Milosevic, Slobodan Milosevic. My father is a key witness. They absolutely do not like him. did not sleep all day long, and has this kind of problems experiencing already for the 5th day. Today is the 5th day. This shit started on September the 3rd of 2025. Now it's the 5th day of this stuff.
Kako si kaj? Nemam nič, nemam. Ja, pa imaš lahko hitro vse. Ja, spomnim se malo, kaj je bilo, povej malo in tu je vse, tu jaz sem tu že vse napisal. Kam? Na internet. Vse je že napisano na internetu, v angleškem jeziku. Vse, čisto vse, koga je bilo, vse je narejeno, videi, vse. Praviš, da nimaš nič, vse imaš. Čisto vse imaš, samo malo poveš in tu je vse, kar je, če češ. Jaz te pa nasilim. Tu je vse, kar je, tu je čisto vse, kar je že narejeno vse. Jaz sem že naredil vse. Nič naredil. Nisem nič naredil. No, ajde, bomo malo vaje delala, pa boš še kaj povedal. Tako. Si se kaj naspal? Slabo si spal? Nisi spal. Sploh nisi spal? Kaj? Nisi spal? Ne. Aha. Kaj pa je? Kaj te kaj trebušček boli? Te kaj boli tukaj v trebuščku? Kaj je? Povej. Daj mi povej, kaj je. Ne marajo me. Ne marajo te? Ja, pa meni povej, oče. Ti moraš meni povedati. Kaj, slabo s tabo delajo tam, ali kaj? Ja. Slabo delajo? Kaj, je bilo kaj nasilja, ali kaj tacga, ali kaj je bilo? Jesti ne dajo. Jesti ne dajo? Ja, kako jesti ne dajo? Niso ti dali jesti? Ja. Na tisto tubo ti niso dali nič? Nič? Ja, to je morda zato, da se ti je sčistilo iz trebuščka. Ti mene posluš, pa bo še vse tako, ko mora biti. Si slišal? Ti sam mene posluš. Pa če se kaj spomniš, povej za tvoje dobro, da te ven od tukaj dobim. Tu, da te ne marajo, tu ne pomaga nič. Neki slišen trebušček. Krul not trebuščku. Dajmo malo vaje mi dva delati. Si kaj žejen? Tu mi po. Tudi žejen si. A tako. Father said they don't like him, that he didn't get anything to eat, he's thirsty, I don't know what's going on. Mama, kaj ne mu dajo kaj jesti? Tam. Oče pravi, da mu ne dajo nič jesti, da je žejen tudi. Spal pravi, da ni čist nič. Ja, puščaj. Počas mu dajej, čist počas. Nemo si vzanč, ker sem mu dal kapljice, sem mu je zaletelo. Dosti. Čist počas, zaradi tega,
To
ker
pravi, da ni žejen.
ne da ni žejen, ampak ne more goltati, ker ima tisto tubo imamo.
Kje ima tubo?
V želodcu,
V ustih nima nič.
v želodcu ima.
Ja, v ustih pa ne.
Meni so rekli celo, da se mu ne sme dati nič piti zaradi tiste tube. Žejen je.
Nič ni žejen. Noče piti.
Ne vem, kaj ti govoriš.
Pa ne morem.
Kaj?
In že je pil.
Kaj praviš ti?
Hoditi pa ne morem.
Ne moreš hoditi. Si v nemogu tako. Res? Nič nisi v nemogu. Lahko hodiš, lahko. Pa njemu v želodcu, jaz slišim, ko mu v želodcu mu krul vse noč.
Ko sem prišla, so mu dali jaz. Ko sem prišla, so ga nahranili. In ko sem šla ven, sem mu jaz že novčaja dala. Ni ne žejen, ne lačen.
Prav, da ga ne marajo. Opa, bato. Kaj ti zebe? Malo te zebe danes?
Poglej, kako je oblečen.
Ja vem, da si ga dobro oblekla, jaz. Sej,
ne
ampak
zebe.
on se ne gibe. Ne? Mi da bova zrihtala tole, spizdimo tukaj, kako domu mira. Pa še kam drgam.
Roke si daj v žep, če te zebe. To roko daj v žep.
Pusti, ja, tako huj.
Vidiš, da ima mrzlo roko, daj mu jo v žep.
Nič nima mrzlo.
Vidiš,
Kam greš?
da
Pej, pa mama, lepo te prosim, samo veš, da tista kava ni bila dobra zate, to so ti že govorili. Ker si gleda, če te marajo ali te ne marajo, ti samo z mano bod, kaj pa tebe briga, če te marajo ali te ne marajo. Ka ni važno, da te imam jaz rad, a? Kaj je? Kaj boš mislil na to zdaj? Tako. Dar se, ajde, prim se tle. Te potegnem gor.
ne morem hoditi.
Saj ne bova nič hodila, samo razmigala se bova, tu je vse, samo da ti precirkuliram. Tu je vedno najboljša stvar. In jaz vidim eno zadevo tukaj. Ja, jaz vem, da se ne počutiš dobro, ampak ti kar uživi, lepo zrelaksiraj se, nič hudega. Tu te bom jaz tokrat gor pa dol nočil, da ti bo malo precirkuliralo in tako naprej, eventualno boš spal. Če hočeš spati, svež zrak je pomemben, da dobiš. To je ena stvar. Druga stvar je pa, ledvica ti tole malo da, razumeš? Tu je to. Ja. Tu so stvari, ki so pomembne, da ti prečisti to. Še malo. Jaz se zrihtam. Jaz se še pripeljem živega v toke in še ribe boš lovil. Tiste so bili pa prasci, tiste ljudje, ki so bili s tabo tukaj. Prašiči. Kaj so govorili, da boš še domov prišel crknit, tisti policaji. Se nič ne spomniš, kaj so govorili, da boš domov še prišel crknit. Take bolne stvari so govorili. Se ne spomniš nič? Pa vedno so prašiči. Tu nisem bil jaz, tu so bili policaji. Ti boš še domov prišel in ribe boš lovil in vse. In z mano boš še kam šel. Še bomo še skupaj kam šla, si slišal? Vse tiste črne misli, temu se reče črne misli, ki so ti delali. Tisto pozab. Če imaš kaj zapovedati, da se kaj spomniš, pa povej. Da te hitreje v toki domov mače, tu je vse. Malo bližje k vodi te bom pripeljal takole. Tu so prasci bili taki, da jih svet vedel ni teh prascev. Ti ne misli na te stvari, ti sam lepo uživaj, tu je vse, kar je. Je ne počutiš dobro? Bomo pa takole bila. Nič se ne sikirimo, pa takole bila. Ne bom jaz nič forsiral te, veš, ne bomo nič. Bom jaz noge premikal vse, tako da samo svetle, pa bom jaz noge premikal in ti tu. Ti nič si ne sikiri. Ampak jaz domov te bom dobil, pa ne samo živega, ampak še boš hodil, še boš palce držal v roki in tudi videl boš še. Zrihtali te bomo, da bo. Se ne počutiš preveč dobro, kaj? Si malo k sebi prišel, ne? Malo si k sebi prišel, ne? Rdečočka. Si k sebi prišel? Te bom klical rdečočka, veš? Kaj praviš?
Zaklenjeno je.
Hvala Bogu. Pa si tle lepo prines džezvico, pa ti bom jaz tle lepo kavico naredil. Kaj ni boljš, da drugič, če bom jaz kavo naredil, pa ti prinesem?
Ne, hvala, tudi
Zakaj ne?
gotovo ne bom.
A iz avtomata boš, a? Tiste so pa najslabše od vseh. Tiste pa totalna svinarija. 85 let se stara.
Ja, zato me vidiš.
86.
Ko pa
In greš in piješ kavo iz avtomata.
Ko pa kosim, pa ne vidiš, kako sem stara.
Kdaj si pa kosila, mama?
Vsaki 14 dni.
Daj bod pametna, mama.
Vsaki 14
Kosi, takrat, ko se reče, da se kosi breg, tu pa jaz kosim, oziroma sem kosil in tu je vse.
Dvakrat si ga pokosil v življenju. To je to.
Jaz sem ga kosil leta 2023 in 2024.
In konč.
Ja, zdaj pa 2025 pa ne dovoliš. Pač delaš po svoje.
Ma briga mene, kaj boš ti govoril. Si na isti stopni kot oče.
Na isti stopni kot oče, tako je. Ja. Tam se lepo vse, boš vodo pila? Bi vodico? Če ti vodico dati, boš? Opa, evo ti vode. Evo. Ja, voda pa ni dovolj dobra. Kaj če veš? Ali mi ne smeš zameriti, jaz sem na isti stopni, kot oče imam.
Ne bom jaz dala.
Samo še dal.
Ni treba gledati prav kulti zlomc, kako ti gre v usta. Da ne naliješ ne vem kaj.
Če ni kave, mama voda, to je to, nimaš kaj. Če pa voda ni, pa potok, mami. To je to. Ne smeš se pustiti. Za enega tazga borca, ki je travo jedel, ko praviš ti, da si tu ne bi noven, tu take stvari zate, tu ni nič. Tako. To, če bi se ti spomnil, bi mu v enem dnevu ta potok. Če bi se ti hotel ti spomniti. Veš ti to? V enem dnevu bi šel lepo tukaj. Ti? V enem dnevu bi šel tukaj. Samo da bi se spomnil. Malo. Pa bi šel domov lepo. Gotovo je. Tako enostavno. Ribiško palco v roke in gremo. Tu. Tako je to enostavna stvar. Drugače pa, kaj sem jaz povedal? Jaz sem povedal vse, veš. Čisto vse sem povedal. Kaj je bilo. Od Miloševičovih počitnic v Črni gori. Vse. Čisto popolnoma vse sem povedal. Tako da, če ti omeniš eno stvar, je že tu zadostuje dovolj. Veš ti to? Vse sem povedal. Povedal sem od Josipa Broza Tita v naši stari hiši, ki je hodil. Nasprot hiše, ki je stanoval v tistih apartmajih, kadar je prišel. Povedal sem od Putina, od Medvedeva, od Miloševiča, ki so me nazaj pripeljali iz Črne gore, ki so imeli zabave na naši parceli, vse te stvari. To sem vse povedal, ati. Tako da ni čist nobene razlike, ali boš ti povedal, ali ne boš povedal, koga je bilo, če se kaj spomniš tega. Ampak stvari pa zate naredi bolj enostavne. Veš? Od vseh gostov, ki jih je bilo v naši stari hiši, ki so hodili spat noter, tam, ki si ti z mamo bil noter, v tisti spalnici pot. vse tisto. Tisto sem jaz vse povedal. Vse politike, ki so hodili not tam spat. Take stvari. Ker smo mi spali pa na drugi strani hiše in tako naprej, take zadeve. Vse te stvari sem jaz že povedal. Je že vse na internetu, je že vse povedano. Tako da, če se hočeš kaj spomniti, lahko poveš. Sem rekel, ta potok tlele, ki je tvoj. Če ne, moraš pa še naprej tukaj biti, to je vse, kar je, dokler te jaz nekako vendar tukaj ne dobim. V temu je šlo, to je vse, kar je. Vse sem povedal. Vse sem povedal, kaj je bilo. Kdo je hodil k nam v staro hišo noter. Tako se je to začelo. In pol iz stare hiše v novo hišo in tako naprej, kaj je bilo. Vse sem povedal, tako da... Mother got really upset right now. She started to give all kinds of comments over there, laughing and so on. Takole. Danes lažje vaje delava, danes ne bomo nič težkih, lažje vaje. Ne? Če se ne počutiš dobro, bomo pa tako delali. Se ne počutiš dobro. Se boš pa jutri boljš počutil, bomo pa jutri hodili ali pa pojutrišnjem, veš? Samo jaz te razgibujem tako, da ti malo kri cirkulira, da je. To je dobro zate. Jaz te razgibujem, da, veš, da ti kri cirkulira. Nič ni, tu so propalice, tisti policajčki, ki so bili tukaj. Oguljen, pa vse tukaj je bilo, bla, 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 bla. Ti bla, 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 tu ni nič, ti bla, bla. Ja, tu, ker so govorili, da bo konec sveta, če poveš pa take stvari, tu je enostavno povedano boljše, tu je sranje. Ti ljudje fantazirajo preveč. Tako je to. Nič ni konec sveta, vse je že povedano na internetu, vse je gor na internetu. Če pa bi še ti kaj povedal, bi bilo pa še toliko boljše. Tako.
Skaj pet gremo na hrib.
Gor bi šel?
Ja.
Ja? Ajde. Ti bi šel hoditi. Ajde, dej.
Nisem hodil, veš, pa to.
No, dej, da te primem. to tako. Še enkrat, dajmo. Odlično. Odlično, 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 petka. Vidim, da si bil kar močan v nogah. Dobro je. To je ta boljša vaja, ki si zdaj naredil. Da se takrat, ko se ostaneš, to je ta boljša. Kaj? A? Kaj praviš? Kje so? Kje so ljudje?
Za mene bi.
Malo bi hoditi šel prav.
Kaj je? Kaj je?
Čakaj. Tole. Kaj se roki dol? Kaj? Ja, to nisi rekel, da boš zdaj hodil. Ajde, dajmo.
Naj te prime okrog pasa.
Dej, prijemi me. Objem me, dej. Tako, ja. Tako, ja. Tako.
Gremo.
Tole. Whew. Takole kvitula. Takole.
Hvala.
Čakaj. Da še rečem addio. Addio, Piki. Addio, Mik. Se vidimo jutra, addio.
Ajde, gremo.
Addio, Piki. Addio. Father is thirsty. He did not get to sleep all night long. He said they didn't give him to eat, which might have something to do with his stomach problems. But oh.